Welcome back to Fantasy Football Fam. We got Mason back in the house today.
Hello.
What's up, Mason?
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. How you doing, Tedder?
Well, good. Love you, fam.
Awesome. And then, of course, I'm Garrison. We want to talk about that Monday Night Football game. If you watched it, it was quite the spectacle, really. I mean, not scoring-wise, but just like a very interesting game. What did you guys think?
You go, Mason.
I was disappointed the Bills didn't pull it out, but
Same.
it was still an entertaining game right down to the very end.
Yeah.
What were you saying over there, Ted?
No, same thing. It kind of felt like, if the weather was on track like it usually is in Wyoming, it would have felt like watching a late Wyoming game here with the Pokes,
Yeah.
Blistery winds, snow.
Kicking looked difficult.
Yeah, but I mean,
very
it was
difficult.
it was fun to watch, some smash mouth football be played. So
Yeah.
I respect that. So, yeah.
So the one thing, if anybody watched that Wyoming versus Air Force game earlier this year, Air Force ran it like constantly. It wasn't like bad weather, but like that's their offense, and it reminded me a lot of that because it's like the Patriots are going to run the ball, and they just couldn't really stop them.
They said that Bill Belichick did a pregame interview with a Navy shipman COVID mask, and we all know Navy likes to pound the rock, so maybe that was some foreshadowing that none of us caught on to.
That's why there's only 3 passes by
Yeah.
the Patriots in the whole game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Mixed it up.
The crazy thing is that the Bills could have won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple chances.
I don't know if you. I mean, yeah. If Stephon Diggs catches that touchdown pass, granted, I'm sure it was hard. I'm sure that ball was moving all over the
It
place.
all looked difficult to catch.
But Josh Allen missed Cole Beasley at the end. He was open. He probably would have gotten into the end zone. He's a shifty dude. He would have gotten the first down at the very least.
Yeah.
So that was a missed opportunity by Josh. It's kind of crazy. I mean, everybody in Wyoming watches the Bills games.
Yeah.
I think it's
We're all closet Bills fans.
it's illegal to not watch a primetime Bills game in Wyoming.
But is it that unrealistic that at this point the Patriots are the number 1 seed in the AFC?
I don't want to talk about it.
Me neither, but God damn, that program is put together, isn't it?
Because they got a really good defense
Didn't
and a
skip a
really
beat.
good run game.
Yeah.
So
Really good coach.
really good
And
coach.
a smart quarterback.
I think
out.
people are getting a little out of control with talking about how Mac Jones is going to be one of the best quarterbacks. He seems like he's going to be
good.
a good
Still young though.
a good system quarterback, and that's what Bill Belichick loves, and that's what he can make work. So.
Yep. Yeah.
I like him,
Same.
but let's not get out of control.
100%. Yeah.
Talking about him in dynasty leagues and stuff.
Hard to compare him to those quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence who were sent to teams that aren't the Patriots, who have had losing records and histories. So
Yeah.
he had a great surrounding to start his
Yeah,
rookie
send
year,
him to
so
the Jets. See what happens there.
Could have been a little bit different outcome, I think.
Exactly.
So, I do want to talk about a go deep update. We're coming into the end of the season. Sadly, Mason was eliminated from contention.
Bye-bye.
I've already clinched my playoff spot, but Tedder is on the very edge of the bubble right now. He's
Got
currently
this, Tedder.
in 11. He needs to get to 8th. Top 8 make it to the playoffs.
What's my percentage?
2% chance.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance. So I went through and I figured out what he needs, okay? So he's obviously got to win this week.
Yes, obviously.
One more week, but he's playing the highest scoring team.
Fantastic.
He needs a loss from Degeneration X, or he can outscore him by 28 points.
Not happening, so we need a loss.
He needs a lot. He's got Jonathan Taylor on bye this week.
Yeah, this is the worst week to have my only stud be on a bye and have another stud on the IR still. So yeah,
A lot on the line
thank
for
you, fantasy
Austin,
gods.
He needs a loss from the 2-time Hall of Fame Thaxton team, as well as a loss by the Only Dance. And those are pretty solid teams there. But there's one other scenario, is if 1 and 2 happen, so he wins, and then Degeneration X loses, and then the Dirty Birds lose, and he outscores the Dirty Birds by 31.
That's not happening.
And only one of the Only Dans or 2 times Hall of Fame Thaxton win.
I don't reach out to the fantasy gods a lot. But if my receivers, I have Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, and Emmanuel Sanders this week. No, sorry, not Jalen Waddle, down a bye. So I have Odell Beckham.
Okay.
So if those 3 can go off, so please, Pat Shermer, I don't know if you're going to hear this, but please target Jerry Jeudy this week. And, if Rex Burkhead, gets a nice little kick in the
Rex.
butt,
Okay.
he gets going.
Who's your QB?
Cam Newton, and they're playing.
Okay.
I forget who they're playing, but it's a pretty good matchup this week. So if he, let's get a MVP styled bounce back from Cam Newton, and then if the Bills just target Matt Breida a little bit.
Okay.
Got a small chance I could pull out a victory.
Yeah, very small, 2%.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for you, Ted.
Yeah, we're gonna root for you here.
Thank
Who's your tight end?
CJ Uzomah.
Okay,
because Logan Thomas is over
Logan
there.
Thomas just got man. It's just not a good week for you.
It's not. My 3
good
studs. Yeah. So yeah.
Better shape than me.
Yeah. Sorry, Mason.
Consolation, no relegation.
No relegation for
Not
Mason.
coming to me. No way.
You wanted to talk about some players potentially sitting out at the end of the season?
Yeah. Well, one thing that kind of came up in our production meeting yesterday that we kind of hinted at is that it's still wide open in the regular NFL, as in teams trying to make the playoff race, teams trying to, solidify a 1-2 seed, stuff like that. So there's a good chance that going into the upcoming fantasy playoffs that you'll probably have all of your guys, which is very rare. So this is a very good year if you make the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah. And I think maybe the Patriots, if they run away with it, they could get a game up. But, the Cardinals don't have the tiebreaker against the Packers.
Nope.
No.
So
That number 1 seed is very important. People love to get that bye, get that rest going.
Get that home field advantage.
Yeah.
So yeah. If you've already, solidified a spot in the playoffs like, Garrison has, or if you're fighting to stay in the league like me and Mason are, you're in luck because you won't have to worry about scrambling for bench guys because most teams, if not all 32, have to play for something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They're all still fighting.
I mean, hell, even the Lions have a 2% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Were the Texans the only team eliminated thus far?
I think so.
But we're not surprised by that too much. But
nobody's
they still
surprised.
try to thwart plans. The Texans aren't giving up.
Yeah. So.
And then we wanted to hit the Cardinals offense real quick. Mason, you want to take that away?
I always love to talk about the Cardinals offense. I was all in on Kyler Murray this year, just like last year I was with Dak. Didn't get enough insurance when he went out. My record went down. I had DeAndre Hopkins in a couple leagues, but they were both back last week, and looks like they didn't skip a beat. I think Kyler's going to be in contention as one of the best fantasy quarterbacks going forward this far, not in total points with all the games he missed. But, I mean, aside from him, Connor has had a really good year. A lot of touchdowns. He's been the only other really consistent one. Those receivers, Hopkins is very touchdown dependent. So the Cardinals are really one of my favorites to win the Super Bowl. I think they got one of the most complete teams. So
it's just hard to play some of those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you can play them, but you're just reaching.
Yeah, and their team was better than maybe predicted. So a lot of they were kind of resting guys. It seemed like giving them more time to come back from injuries.
They're the number 1 seed, so they don't need to be trying
one
too
with
hard.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Great.
That's how I'm feeling about them.
So one thing we do want to hit real quick is what teams we think that might have a chance at a Super Bowl run that maybe haven't been talked about a lot. I know I've talked about the Colts quite a bit here.
Like the Colts.
I like the Colts. Yeah, we were talking about that. I'm gonna pick somebody else, but real quick, they are only 1.5 games back from the Derrick Henry and AJ Brownless Titans. So they do have a little bit of a tough schedule going forward, but I do like them probably making the wild card, making a run. But another team is the 49ers.
Yeah.
49ers are 6-6 right now. They're really kind of pulling it together, getting people healthy. Debo isn't going to be out, but maybe one more week. They got George Kittle back. They are dealing with a little health in their running back room as always. But their schedule isn't too tough going forward. So I could see them getting in, and once they get in the playoffs, kind of all bets are off.
Yeah. They always have a good strategy when it gets to the postseason.
For sure.
An overlooked team, just like when they went to the Super Bowl that last time.
Yeah, and they had a run game like we were talking about with the cold weather and what happened on Monday. They just pound the rock.
Yeah.
So I like that. Who you got, Mason?
I'm looking at the Washington football team just continuing this run. They're on a 4-game win streak, and I want them to win again this week against the Cowboys and take the division lead. If they can get into the postseason, have all their guys healthy back. Obviously, Logan Thomas is not going to be playing anymore this year, but hopefully, I guess his injury wasn't as bad as they thought, so he should be back at the beginning of next year. But if they can get into the postseason, maybe get some revenge against the Buccaneers or something. They already showed they beat them in the regular season and challenged them last year, so they could definitely upset some people. And
Logan Thomas, it sounds like he might be back.
For
later this
postseason?
season.
Oh, yeah,
So-
because there was
I
no...
don't know, because I think I saw an article today he's out for the year.
Really? Oh, okay. Maybe I missed that. So.
There was
It
no
was
tear,
late.
but
It was
yeah,
late.
but there was damage to the knee. So.
Gotcha.
It was a really late thing I saw.
Yeah,
on
I've been
Instagram. He's
following
out
that a
for the
lot
season.
because they are a
Sucks.
different team with him. Without
He's
him,
so
I
good.
don't
Beast.
like their chances as much because he's their only big target.
Ricky Seals-Jones might be coming back.
Oh
though,
yeah, and
so
he's been
pretty
missing
good.
too. He was
He's
kind of their
pretty good.
fill-in when Thomas first went out.
Yeah.
So.
Who you got
Yeah,
over there,
Tedder.
Tedder?
Well, I'll keep it short, but I like the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Their game back, they actually gained a game because the Patriots beat the Bills.
Okay.
So they gained a game there. They're only 6-7. I'm looking at the on the brink teams right now. You got the Steelers who are 6-5, Colts 7-6, Raiders 6-6, Browns 6-6, my Broncos 6-6, and Dolphins 6-7. So they're right there. Tua has been playing amazing lately. That connection he has with Jalen Waddle is undeniable.
Oh, yeah.
And then that defense they have is
Right.
stupid.
Yeah, they're really pulling it together.
Yeah, so they're on a bye this week. The Patriots are on a bye this week. But the Bills have a tough matchup against the Buccaneers.
Yes.
So there's a chance that the Dolphins could gain another game on the Bills. Be tied right there, going in, well, close to being tied going into the next week, and they might sneak in.
Yeah, I mean, also, the one thing, though, that did scare me about that is they do play the Patriots like week 18 or something like
It's a pretty
that.
good
So
game.
But they beat him at the very beginning of the year.
Yeah,
So
if
maybe
they can
have something.
that might be an interesting game
Yeah.
towards the end of the season.
I see the Dolphins a lot like that. I mean, defensively they're not as good, but I see them close to that. Kind of like that Ravens team that won it back with Trent Dilfer. Play small ball on offense, do what you do, but, rely on that defense. The defense isn't as good as that Ravens defense was. We're not saying that, but I think that same philosophy can hopefully carry them into at least a wild card spot. And once you get to the playoffs, it's any man's game.
All bets are off.
Definitely.
So anyways, we're kind of move on to our next section where we're going to all three of us take the small opportunity to talk about our teams and what we think they need going forward in the next season to be, competitive again. Not that the Packers haven't been competitive enough this year, but yeah, we're all going to talk about our teams a little bit. So, starting off with the hee-haw factory that is the Denver Broncos right now. Fire Pat Shurmur. George Patton, you're new. You got us off to a great start. Fantastic draft in your first year. Pat Surtain, Javonte Williams, Quinn Miernes, Jonathan Cooper, Caden Stearns. I could keep going off. Great draft. He did some other good things. Trading away Von Miller, scared some people, but getting Kenny Young and a few other guys back, fantastic. So, as a new GM, usually you let the dust kind of settle first, and then in your second year you start to make some, front office moves. So, get rid of Pat Shurmur. I like Vic Fangio. I know it's hard for me to say that because some of his, head coaching, calls have been questionable. However, that defense that we have in Denver is undeniably good. They're finally starting to hit their stride, and a lot of that has to do with Fangio. So I think you keep him, you fire Pat Shurmur, you bring in, an offensive-minded coach that is new school, can't run this old school pass or run, pass, be predictable like that anymore. Denver, please, you have so much talent. And one of the things that I've kind of thrown out to other people that is, kind of my inquiry or my intuition, I guess you could say, is that I think Patton sold the idea of getting a new OC and a new quarterback to both Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick, and that's why they sign long-term deals. Because I don't think those two sign long-term if there's not some future for them to get the freaking football. So, with that being said, as of today, some rumors came out from old Seattle saying that Russell Wilson would be willing to waive his no-trade clause for the Denver Broncos. It's a rumor, but as a fan, you like to take rumors and run with them. So, Russell Wilson is one of the guys, even last offseason, that I wanted Denver to go after. Another guy, obviously, would be Aaron Rodgers. But if I had to choose, and I think this would make, one of my co-hosts happy, is that I would rather take Russell only because he's 33 and he probably has at least 8 years left, if we're looking at the longevity of quarterbacks nowadays.
Yeah.
So, Russell Wilson coming down to Denver. You got Judy, you got Sutton, you got Tim Patrick, you got Javonte Williams, you got Noah Fant, you got Albert O, you got KJ Hamler coming back. So we got the weapons, and we have the O-line that's way better than what you're rocking with in Seattle. So, Russell, please come to Denver. Anyways, Garrison, or Mason, whoever wants to take it next, what about y'all's teams?
You want to go?
I guess I'll go. All right. I'll take it over. I'll take off. The Washington football team making moves. I think their season this year and what they need to do next year was really all coming down to if Taylor Heineke developed the way that he has, because he was making some poor decisions 5 games ago.
Right.
The outlook wasn't looking great, but we've almost kind of had a Kirk Cousins, if not more, transformation here where Heineke's looking solid, making better decisions. If we don't make a postseason run this year, moving on to next year, it's going to be about that continuity. Keeping all the same players in the franchise. They signed McLaren to a new contract. They kept McKissick around for another year. Gibson's still on that rookie deal. And now that Taylor Heineke's coming around, I think they're going to make him their quarterback, at least of the near future, for the next few years, give him the chance to go, especially if he can do some damage this year.
Right, like if he finishes strong, it's like maybe we got some here.
Yeah.
Wins a playoff game.
His decision-making has really come along.
Did he win a playoff game?
No, they lost to the Bucks in a close game. It was they had a competitive game last year, but they made the playoffs. No, but I mean they challenged the Super Bowl winner and they beat him this year. So
but he did
that's
play
not
in that
progress.
game.
Yes, and it was Heineke.
And he had like a diving touchdown.
Yeah, it was like his first
touchdown.
start of the year, I believe, or definitely first start.
So he's got some playoff experience. Maybe he can do something.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, their defense could definitely use some help in the secondary, but like they have enough cap space to maybe make one more signing on the defensive end with their front 7. They have really good guys there, so if they can just have them backed up behind them, I really think that the football team not only steals the division from the Cowboys this year, it's really going to come down to this week because they play the Cowboys twice more, or the 2 times that they're going to play them this year. And if they can take the first one, it's going to get in the Cowboys' head. They get the division lead, and once Dallas spirals, we've seen what happened to them in the past. So
are they home this week, or are they home next game?
I think the football team is home this week, and then they're going to be in Dallas. They're in 3 weeks from now. So
they can at least get that ahead of them, be number 1 in the division, right? So,
yes. Yeah, I mean,
sweet.
They're not the best ranked against receivers. Like I said, they could use some help in the secondary, but a lot of that comes down to health and just gaining that experience. So that's where I'd hope. I mean, they have Landon Collins. If they can get another guy back there with him next year, I think that's the move, but mainly retaining the health. Gibson's had that shin fracture all year, and McKissick was hurt. So they really haven't been able to have all the health at once, but Logan Thomas being out hurts us this year, so maybe we are playing for next year.
One thing about Gibson is he does have that fracture, but he's saying that it's feeling better now.
Yeah, so
and he's running better. He looks quicker.
He's actually put together a decent year. Like
maybe we weren't wrong.
Top 11, yeah.
Looking at him at the preseason, like you can't know that somebody's going to have or get a stress fracture.
He's an impressive talent. There's been a lot of players like that. Like no one's saying Christian McCaffrey's bad just because he's hurt. We're saying he's injury prone. So
and stress fracture is something you can play through. But ultimately, if he probably would have taken some rest, he probably could have come back stronger sooner. But they needed him.
Yeah, they did, and I guess it worked for him because now they have a 500 record and can actually compete this year.
I'd like to see that.
Can the Packers compete this year? Or have they already reached their highest level?
I think this is the best chance we've had since we won the Super Bowl.
Okay. This sounds familiar. I almost remember you saying that to me last year. But
I might have said that. But I also... Was this before the season started?
Yes.
Okay. I thought our defense was going to be good last year. Our defense is actually good.
I don't know if you were saying that come postseason time, but
I mean, I like the Packers last year, but we've not had a defense that can really stop people. We held the Chiefs to 13 points, and we had Jordan Love who couldn't stay on the field. So I'm really impressed with our defense so far. We might be getting 2 All-Pros back on our defense.
Yeah,
Jair Alexander, Zadarius Smith. I think Zadarius might come back soonish. Jair, I think with Jair, it's like they don't know if his shoulder's going to heal. They were worried he might need surgery, but they're going to try to get him back this year, but he might not actually come back. I think Zadarius and Bakhtiari on the offensive side are the ones where they're like really thinking they're going to come back at some point.
Yeah.
So if we can get those guys back, like I would,
sky's the limit.
I'm honest. I feel like I'm not being biased, but obviously you got to keep that under consideration. I think we have the best team.
Yeah.
If those guys come back, and I think a lot of people would agree with me on that.
Yeah, definitely one of the best. I can't deny that.
Yeah, for sure.
Minutes, so
I think as far as off-season goes, I think one of the main things that we need to do is just try to keep either Rodgers or Devontae Adams. Obviously, if we can keep them both,
You should keep them both.
we should try to keep them both. But the thing is, I don't know if we can afford Devontae Adams if we keep Aaron Rodgers, because we got a lot of people we're paying a lot of money.
And then Jordan Love, they drafted high enough, so you got to pay him a bigger contract.
So yeah, first off, if we win the Super Bowl, I think that'll go very far into keeping Rodgers, making him happy.
That'll change everything.
Run it back.
Win another Super Bowl.
Maybe Devontae Adams, we can just franchise tag him for a year or something, or like I don't really know. I don't know salary cap all that well.
Maybe someone will take less money somewhere else because it's a Super Bowl contending team like they did in Tampa.
Maybe we trade Aaron Jones and run with AJ Dillon so that we can give Devontae Adams the money he needs to stick around. I love Aaron Jones. I don't want to get rid of him, but if it came down to Aaron Jones or Devontae Adams, I'm probably going to take Devontae Adams, especially because we have AJ Dillon.
Oh yeah, I'd always take the receiver talent over the running back just because of longevity.
For sure. And then if we can't keep them, or if we lose Aaron Rodgers, I think we kind of need to shift to a more run-oriented team. So maybe draft some more offensive line depth. We've got a pretty solid offensive line so far, and then get some more people on the defense. And then definitely make a move to replace Adams if we can't keep him.
Yeah.
Try to get like one stud, because we really don't have any studs. We've got good receivers. We don't have studs. We got to give Jordan Love a chance. If we can keep Adams and Rodgers leaves, I still think we can make a run. You know, obviously you lose Aaron Rodgers, you lose Devontae Adams. Your chances go way down for winning a Super Bowl.
So that's their top priority.
Yeah. But I think we have such a good team that we lose one or two of those guys, and we make some moves to kind of shift our focus. I think we can still make the playoffs next year without Aaron Rodgers, sadly. But that's what I think we need to do to make a run next year.
By far the most complete team in that division.
Oh yeah, by far,
hands down. So playoffs
by far top 3. I think top 5 undisputed NFC teams. So yeah.
Let's make a run this year, Pack.
Let's make a run, Pack.
All right.
So it sounds like all of our teams have a little work to do in the offseason.
Yes.
Obviously, every year, every team's got to make some moves. We got people moving on. I think the Packers, especially with that salary cap, paying a lot of good players. So. All right, so we are going to move on to some Dynasty Rankings. We figured, we like to do some rankings on the show. We're kind of past the point of really ranking people. I think everybody kind of knows where everybody stands this year. So we're going to look forward to next year going forward.
Yes.
We're going to start with our top 5 QBs.
Cool.
Tedder, you want to take that away?
Yeah. And for my list of all my guys, I went younger because I'm thinking Dynasty. So there's some older guys, but I'd like to go young too. So for quarterbacks, number 1, I like Justin Herbert. I think he has solidified himself as probably the number 1 dynasty quarterback going forward, thinking long term. Got to go with my guy back here, Josh Allen, number 2. Number 3, I like Kyler Murray. He's still young gun, Number 4, I like Lamar Jackson. And then number 5, I like Patrick Mahomes. I mean, got to put him in the top 5.
Yeah,
definitely.
He's just good. Over the Chiefs kind of figure it out. I mean, I hope they don't personally figure it out, but for fantasy purposes, I kind of hope they do. So, yeah.
So, my quarterbacks, it's interesting because I was thinking Justin Herbert, but I kind of dropped him because of his lack of real rush. I mean, he rushes sometimes, but he doesn't have that elite rushing ability. So, number 1, I got Josh Allen. Number 2, I got Kyler Murray.
Okay.
3, I've got Jalen Hurts.
I like that.
Oh, yeah.
I like Jalen.
Yeah, and then 4, I got Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
And then 5, I've got Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
So, if I had to go out and do a 6th, I'd probably go with Justin Herbert.
Cool.
I do like him. Who do you got?
I'm working with, I have all the same guys as Tedder, just in a different order.
Nice.
Number 1, I have Josh Allen.
Cool.
He's just the fantasy guy. We all love him. Wyoming guy, mobile, great arm. 2nd, I have Patrick Mahomes, just because he's proven his MVP caliber status. He always holds on to one of the best records since he's been the starter. He's just the guy. And then I had to put Kyler 3rd, just because he fell off a little bit this year. He's a little younger than those. Actually, he's a little younger than those two, but he's, I think once he's not as mobile, he maybe will have a lower ceiling. And then next I have Justin Herbert, who I think has just got all the skills to really be a great dynasty guy. And then next I have Lamar Jackson as my last pick. very mobile, but I think he might go the way of Kyler, where when he becomes less mobile, maybe he won't have as much value going forward. But I still think he's a top 5 talent. So
he's got the talent.
Yeah.
There's question marks around the situation, though.
Yeah. He's still always shown that he's got a lot in the tank. And then I'll do my running backs next. We're gonna do our top 10 running
Top 10
backs.
for running backs. Yeah.
Running backs. We're going with JT Jonathan Taylor as my top dynasty running back. Next, I have Najee Harris, showing the PPR ability, and he's on the Steelers. I know he's just a rookie, and a lot of times they fall off after their rookie year a little bit as sophomores, but then moving on, I put my guy David Montgomery as a top target on that list.
That's a good one.
I doubt he may be major guys' top 10, but I really like him as a dynasty guy moving forward. Then next, I have Christian McCaffrey, just because he has been, when he's healthy, the top fantasy player in the league. Can't give up on him just yet. He'll surprise all of us one day, probably just as soon as next year. And then after Christian, I have Joe Mixon, who I think is just a really solid running back. He has taken care of business on the field. And then after him, I have my Washington football team guy, Antonio Gibson. He's really young, talented, sure-handed. He's going to keep doing it for Dynasty. After him, I have Austin Eckler. Another great pass-catching back who's just been at the top of the fantasy boards. And then we have a rookie, Javonte Williams, who I thought Tedder would appreciate.
Oh, yeah.
And then I have next on my list, I think I'm down to 9th here, I have Nick Chubb, who it's hard to pick between him and Hunt, but I think Nick Chubb has the more talent for Dynasty. Hunt might be the better guy this year or maybe next year, but Dynasty, I'm going with Nick Chubb. And then lastly, I have Alvin Kamara on my list. I think that's my 10th. If not, I'm going to throw A.J. Dillon in there too. But
Gotcha.
That's who I have on my list.
Cool.
Who are you guys working with over here?
So hearing your list, I realized I totally forgot about Eckler.
Yeah.
I'm going to fit him in here.
Oh,
somewhere.
I have Derrick Henry too because he was hurt. So I would even throw him high up there too.
So I've got...
mention.
No, it's hard to break this down, but I got JT as well, Jonathan Taylor, number 1. Number 2, I got Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Number 3, I got CMC. Number 4, I got Joe Mixon. He's young. He's younger than you'd think. He's like 25.
Yeah.
He's been really great. Alvin Kamara is my number 5. Mm-hmm. Number 6, I got Dalvin Cook. And I think I would slide Austin Eckler in right after that.
Okay.
I think I forgot. I don't know how I missed him. But Austin Eckler after that. Javonte Williams. We'll go with 8. 9, Antonio Gibson. And then 10, Nick Chubb.
Nice.
Although I do like the inclusion of David Montgomery. I'd probably have him right on the cusp as well as Leonard Fournette. I like him going forward too.
Mm-hmm.
Who you got, Tedder?
I'll start off. We'll go with King Henry, number 1. I think he's undisputed whenever he's healthy. Number 2, I like J-Tay. Came on strong this year, and I think that will just continue to rise. Number 3, I like Alvin Kamara, just because his usage, and he can mainly stay healthy more often than not. Then number 4, I got CMC. Number 5, I got my boy Javonte Williams. Super excited about him going forward. Terrell Davis even gave him a shout out. Said it was a throwback. So that's pretty cool to see. My 2 favorite football players now. Number 6, I like Austin Eckler. 7, I like Najee. Number 8, I like Joe Mixon. Number 9, I like Dalvin Cook. And then tied at number 10, because they're similar positions, because they're like 1A, 1Bs there. But I got Chubb at 1A or 10A, and I got A.J. Dillon as 10B. So,
nice.
So yeah, but from there I'll jump straight into the pass catchers.
Let's do it.
I'm going to go back to my phone here, pretend to be Teddy Schefter over here. Number 1, I got Justin Jefferson, young gun. Number 2, I got Jamar Chase. Number 3, I got Jalen Waddle. Number 4, I got CeeDee Lamb. Number 5, I got Deebo Samuel. Number 6, I got Deontay Johnson. 7, I got A.J. Brown. And then number 8, I got one of the older guys, Tyreek Hill. Number 9, I got another one of the older generation guys, Devontae Adams. Number 10, I got Scary Terry. And, if we had a quarterback, I believe I could probably squeak Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy into that list, but that'll be a next year style thing. So.
Gotcha. And I'm now realizing I forgot to bring Najee Harris. It's hard to get all these people in here. I'd probably throw Najee in my top 10 too. But let's go on to the wide receivers. I'd also start off with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. Really talented young guys. Next, I actually have a couple older guys. I didn't really know where to put them because age and talent is kind of hard to balance. But I went Cooper Kupp at 3 and then Devontae Adams at 4. CeeDee Lamb at 5, Deebo Samuel at 6, A.J. Brown at 7, Deontay Johnson at 8, Elijah Moore at 9, and then I got Jalen Waddle rounding that out with 10.
Nice, man.
What about you, Mason?
For pass catchers, I'm starting with Jefferson and Chase, too, for my 1 and 2.
Nice.
Consensus.
Third, I have CeeDee Lamb. I know I was saying he shouldn't be drafted as high, but he's a great player. Fourth, I have Jalen Waddle. Fifth, I have Scary Terry McLaurin on the football team. Sixth, I have DK Metcalf. Seventh, I have Stephon Diggs. Eighth, I have Devontae Adams, who I just think is still the best in the league. And then ninth, I have Cooper Kupp. And then we'll end at 10th, I have Deebo Samuel,
Nice.
dark horse candidate this year.
Got a lot of the same guys in there.
And then I'll move over to tight ends just to end it off. Number 1 tight end, I have TJ Hawkinson.
Ooh.
I think he's got just the perfect balance of age and talent. And then Kyle Pitts is next on my list. Travis Kelce third, just because he's the best in the league. Then we have Mark Andrews fourth. And then fifth, I have Kittle and Waller. I couldn't decide between Kittle and Waller. I went with Kittle just because he destroyed me in the deep last week. So,
Nice.
how about you for tight ends, Gary?
So for tight ends, it was kind of hard to just do 5. I actually ended up leaving Travis Kelce off this list
Same.
because he's 32. He's
Yeah.
old. You don't have that. You don't know how many more years you're going to get out of him. So number 1, I got Kyle Pitts. I do think they're going to be able to figure out how to use them going forward.
Yep.
Use him going forward. Number 2, I've got Mark Andrews. I think he's a little younger than people realize.
He's
like
26.
26. So, and he's just been killing it for the past few years. T.J. Hawkinson is my third. I do like T.J. Hawkinson. And then I've got George Kittle at 4 and Darren Waller at 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who do
I
you
think we
got?
all got someone different and someone similar, which is kind of cool. Number 1, I got Kyle Pitts. Similar to you, I think they'll know how to use them going forward. Number 2, I got Darren Waller, just because his talent is, speaks for itself. Number 3, I got a different name, Mike Gesicki.
Oh, yeah.
I was
He's also young.
considering
He's
just
26,
yeah.
so he's a
Forgot to
young
mention
gun
him.
too. Number 4, I got Hawkinson, just because I think they'll continue to use him, and I think Jared Goff and him will continue to connect. And number 5, Mark Andrews. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right on.
That's our dynasty squads.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to move on to our sure thing. It's a sure thing, bud. And our positional leaders. I'm going to give our scores real quick, and then we'll get right into it. So, as far as sure things go, I moved up. I got mine last week. I'm at 5 and 5. Mason got his. He's at 6 and 4. Tedder fell to 3 and 7. Sorry, Tedder. Hopefully you can get it this week. As far as our positional leaders go, I was the only one that got one last week. So the positional leaders were Tom Brady, Javonte Williams, Justin Jefferson, and George Kittle. So I'm at 4 now. Mason is at 2, and Tedder is at 3. Your boy's in the lead. What up? Great. So we're going to head over to Tedder to start with his sure thing and positional leaders.
Got the Cardinals beating the Rams by at least 3 points. I like the Cardinals offense, and I like their defense. Quarterback, I got Justin Herbert. Running back, I got Alvin Kamara coming back from injury. Ready to go. Wide receiver, I got Justin Jefferson. And then finally, at the tight end position, I got Mark Andrews.
Cool.
That's what we're rocking with.
We're going to
Awesome.
be upping our records with those this week. I'll do mine next. I have my sure thing, copy and Tedder. No, just pulling the Cardinals against the Rams, covering that 3 points. They beat them the first time they played this year, and I think they're going to do it again. For my positional leader, starting with Dak Prescott, the game goal-lighting guru. I have him trying to play catch-up with the football team as quarterback leaders. For tight ends, I have Travis Kelce against the Raiders. For receivers, I'm going with Tedders again, Justin Jefferson versus the Steelers. And for running backs, I have Austin Eckler versus the Giants.
Cool.
What about you, Gary?
I'm going to stick with, as far as my QB, I'm going to go with some Chiefs as well.
Nice.
With a Chief, Patrick Mahomes. I think Travis Kelce, I was looking at him too just because they kind of own the Las Vegas Raiders a little bit. So, especially earlier this year, Patrick Mahomes threw 5 touchdowns. So he's my QB. My running back is going to be Alvin Kamara versus the Jets.
Like it.
Hoping comes back strong. My wide receiver is Cooper Kupp versus Arizona. See that being kind of a high-scoring game. And Cooper Kupp's always going to eat.
Yeah.
Tight end, George Kittle versus Cincinnati. Looks like he's right back to form. So I like those guys for my positional leaders. And then my sure thing is going to be the Falcons and Panthers game under 42. Two decrepit offenses and one especially good defense. So that is what I'm choosing.
I can see that.
Great. So that's going to be our show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, and stay classy, fantasy football fam.
See you next week, fam.